friends, and welcome to our Wednesday show. If this is your first time in our channel, welcome. If you have been here before but you have not subscribed, please subscribe. If it is your birthday, happy birthday. Today we're going to talk more about the troubleshooting for the Jag and what is important when you work with cars. And one of the important things that I want to point out is to know your limitations. As I'm troubleshooting this car, I've been plagued unfortunately with bad weather. Believe it or not, even though it's April, we had 2 snows on the 2 last weekends actually, correct?
Yes.
And that is the time that I have to work on the car, so that has put me a little behind. However, I have done enough of troubleshooting, most of it that I've documented here in this channel, that I know that it is either the transmission, because I did find a leak, or the rear differential, or both. Now, in order to totally eliminate what it is, I have decided to add differential fluid in the differential and transmission fluid in the transmission and see if the car behaves better. And if it does, that would be great. Ideally, I would like to add differential fluid and then test drive it, and then transmission fluid and then test drive it, because whenever you do something, whenever you troubleshoot, you should never change 2 things at once, because you don't know which thing, if you have an improvement, you don't know which change was the one that made the improvement. So the plan for now is to probably first change the differential fluid, because if you remember, I did hear a little bit of a clacking sound when I was turning, I believe it was this wheel, the driver's side wheel. I was only hearing brake sounds, the drum sound in the passenger side, but I did hear a little bit of a clacking sound, and of course I couldn't rotate it fast enough to hear really well, but there was something there. So it worth the effort and the expense to change the differential fluid, and it might be something as simple as that. So the next step is change the differential fluid and see if that makes any difference, and then go on. Also keep in mind, as I mentioned in my last video about the Jaguar, that you need to know if you have an open differential or a limited slip differential, because they use different fluids. So if you're doing it yourself, it's critical that you know that. And if you remember, I did show you how to figure that out. In order to remind you, I don't think that we need a visual. When you turn a wheel, if the other wheel turns the same direction, you have a, what did we say, limited slip differential.
No.
No, yeah, no, an open differential.
Yes.
No, because ours were turning the
You
opposite.
said when ours turned the opposite directions, that meant limited slip.
Right, but I was wrong. I corrected it on the video.
Okay. I can only go by what you told me.
I know. So if one wheel is turned and the other wheel is turned the opposite direction, then you have an open differential. If they both turn the same direction, you have a limited slip differential. And you can get any fluid that it is it's correct for your differential. You don't necessarily have to get the dealer fluid or anything like that. They are very proud of their prices. And as long as you go with a reputable company, I think for my differential I bought Lucas, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so.
I do like the Lucas products, and I bought the Lucas differential fluid, and I think that will be good. And it is the same for transmission. There is a different type of fluid for ATF, which is automatic transmission fluid, and different type of fluid for a manual transmission. So you need to know, and hopefully you do know if your transmission is automatic or manual. I mean, as simple as this sound, if you don't have to shift, you have an automatic transmission. Transmission. If you have to shift, then you have a manual transmission. And if you have a car that has both, like my BMW does both, it is really an automatic transmission. It simulates shifting. All you do is that you override the transmission and you change the gears yourself. So if you have one of those cars that you have both, that you can go up or down, or you have paddles in the steering wheel, you actually have automatic transmissions, and you need automatic transmission fluid. One of the myths in the auto industry is that transmissions, especially automatic transmissions, are sealed for life and they don't need servicing. This is just BS. What they mean by that is it doesn't need servicing for the life of the transmission, not for your life or the life of the car. A transmission that runs dry will fail. It is that simple. There is no way around it. And usually there is a way to reach it. For example, in my car, Jaguar says that my transmission is sealed for life. It is sealed, doesn't need any servicing. However, oddly enough, there is a drain plug and there is a fill port. Now, why in a transmission that does never need servicing, you have a drain plug and a fill port? Because really you should service it, if that makes any sense. No, does that make any sense?
Yes.
So it is the life of the transmission, which is calculated about 100,000 miles for most cars. Some cars will make it 150. My car has more than that, than 150. So it is time for my transmission to be serviced regardless. So even if my changing the rear differential takes the problem away, I clearly have a leak in the transmission, which means that I clearly need to service the transmission, find out where the leak is, top the fuel of the transmission, etc. I will show you these processes in upcoming episodes, but one of the things I want to emphasize again is do not take something that exceeds your limit. That is a good time to find a good mechanic and take your car to a mechanic, especially if there is something that might include danger. For example, if I need to replace my transmission, even though I think I'm quite capable of doing that, I don't really have a lift for this car, and it will be very difficult and dangerous to do it just by putting the car on jack stands. So I will end up taking it to a mechanic for that, and maybe ask that shop to let us record the process so we can put it on the channel for you to see what it entails. I have considered, and I'm still considering, if replacing the fluids doesn't fix the problem, to purchase a lift. But then I have to measure that against the cost of the repair. So I will first get a repair estimate, and then I know that the lift that I want can be had for around $1,200. It is an amateur garage lift, it is not a full lift, but that will make the job much easier. So anyway, today was a little bit more of my vlog type shows because, in all honesty, the weather has really thrown a wrench at us and we haven't been able to do a lot of things. It has even interfered with our process of woodworking and building things. I mean, it has been kind of ridiculous for April. But I hope you enjoyed and you find some useful information in this vlog. And I will see you on Sunday with some other project. And again, I will see you next Wednesday, hopefully with how to change the real differential fluid on the Jaguar X-tye VDP. If you did enjoy and found some value to this video, please smash that like button. If you didn't, the other button works as well. Share, like, and subscribe if you have not done so. And thank you for supporting the channel for the last couple of years. For the Garage Woodworker, and
It'll be there.
have a great week, and we're going to see you soon.